Hello and welcome to Up the Villa podcast. If you're new to our channel, subscribe, drop this video a like, and get involved in the comment section down below on your thoughts of Wolves versus Aston Villa. So it's not gone to plan. I'm sure we're going to get some baity Wolves fans in the comment section down below. But it is what it is. We come on straight after the games. We front it up. We don't come back a couple of days later when the dust has settled. We are here giving our thoughts on the game. So didn't go to plan, didn't go how I expected it to go. From a Villa point of view, I thought Wolves were pretty clinical when they needed to be. They had a good few chances when they were on top. And if they finished them, then they probably could have been out of sight. And like we said in the preview, they're a good side. They've had a great season. Bruno Lage has got them playing really, really well. So we did sort of give them a little bit of credit as well. And they did play decent today as well. So Aston Villa's side of things, let's get into that one then. More of the same, wasn't it, Hannah? More of the same, which is really, really frustrating. And a little stat that I've picked up on. This is my little stat that I've figured out myself. I don't see anyone else has put it out there on Twitter. So this is a Luke Robinson exclusive. 7 games this season, we have been behind within 10 minutes.
I can believe that.
That is not good enough. So here they are: Watford, Brentford, West Ham, Southampton, Manchester United, Leeds, and Wolves. In the Premier League, if you are chasing games at whatever level, if you are 1-0 down after 10 minutes against whoever, you are in for a very difficult game. There's no easy game in the Premier League. And if we are giving teams a goal head start, then we've got a lot to do. And you're asking a lot of any team to get back into a game after 10 minutes. Your game plan is out the window. You're already chasing the game. And that's how it sometimes feels like watching Aston Villa at the minute. We've won 11 games this season. We've lost 16. That is pretty grim reading at the minute as well. I just want to touch on Steven Gerrard's comments before we get into the performance. This is what Gerrard's had to say, and I think it's really interesting what he's had to say today. The reason I'm saying this is on me is because I've got to fix it, and I will fix it. The players in the building now have got to help me fix it now for the next 8 games. But if not, we'll get players who'll help me fix it, because we can't keep giving away sloppy goals and gifts. It sounds like a broken record, doesn't it? Every week we come on, it's the midfield, we lack a CDM, we gift goals, we give teams head start, they're sloppy goals, we concede too many goals. But fundamentally, I think the problem is it's not Gerrard's team, is it? And they're not Gerrard's players, and there is a slight fundamental problem with the mindset of this football team, because on paper you look at it and you're thinking we've got decent players, but for whatever reason they just don't perform on a regular, consistent basis, and that is an issue which needs addressing. And I said I think it was the predicted lineup episode that we did, that I feel like Gerrard needs a full pre-season, and I just feel like he needs to press a reset button and just reset everybody's mindset so everybody starts from fresh and we're able to sort of have a clean slate, instill what needs to be instilled into the squad, and make us more difficult to beat, because we don't draw games. We either lose or we win. And I think that's a massive problem as well. So that's my little bit of a rant over at where we are, because I just feel like until this fundamental problem of inconsistency is solved, we're gonna have this now up until the end of the season. And he's got to address this in the summer, whether it's new players or players leave that we are attached to, because I think we can get attached to some of these players because of where we've come from and the journey we've been on. But ultimately, they've let Dean Smith down, and they're also letting Steven Gerrard down. And ultimately, they're letting the fans down, because performances where they don't turn up, and Gerrard said today, we only turned up for 45 minutes and we've only got 45-minute performances in us. How many times have we heard that this season as well? It's consistent, and it's a consistent trait that we've got. And if you look at Wolves, they're very difficult to beat. They are well drilled. They are well organised. And if they're having a bad game, their players are hitting like 6s and 7s. But if you look at Villa's player ratings today, you're hitting 4 and 5s. And that is also a consistent theme. So, yes, I've had a bit of a rant. Sorry, I've had a bit of a rant. But it's just really frustrating, and it's really annoying, because I feel like we've got some good players, but for whatever reason, they just don't perform consistently, and they let us down all the time. Hannah, welcome. What are your thoughts?
Oh, you can catch your breath now, Luke. I'll step in from here. To be honest, you said a lot of my thoughts. Now I've just got finished writing the fan report, so I'm sure we'll be publishing that soon. And to be fair, you've covered a lot of what I've sort of moaned about on there. And the key word is consistency. I think it's so frustrating because we played those 3 games, won 3 games, and like we were on top of the world. It's like, we can really push on now for the last bit of the season. And you look back now and you feel like, don't we look silly and naive that we really thought this team could perform, more than 3 games in a row? It is so frustrating. And I think that the difference today between us and Wolves was just almost like a calmness and just an organisation about the sides. Like, as you say, we concede early goals. You're just talking about the first 10 minutes. Look at the times we've conceded before the 20-minute mark. It's ridiculous. So often at home as well. And we're constantly, fighting a losing battle, an uphill battle of trying to get back into these games. And it's the mentality where it always feels like if we go a goal down, we're not going to get back into the game. I've moaned on Twitter so many times, why can we not just draw? If we got a point out of that game today, the mood would be different. If we got a point out of the game against Watford, if we got a point out, do you know what I mean? Immediately, our season looks so much different. But we're so polarised. It's black and white. We win or we lose. And when we lose, it almost seems to be like now it's not like we're losing with decent performances. We're losing where it's been a performance where it's so lackluster. Because today, I don't think Wolves, they didn't play us off the park. Wolves aren't, a blockbuster team. They are very organised. They've got a decent core to their team. They know what their jobs are. They stick to them and they just get the job done. Whereas our team, we've got exceptional talent. We've got the likes of Coutinho, Buendia, John McGinn, who, we all see as extremely talented players that, come in ebbs and flows, and we only see the best out of them, maybe even 5 out of 10 games, which just isn't good enough. Now, is that individual player error sometimes? Is that a collective team mentality or a collective team sort of disjointedness where we're just not fusing? I don't know, because under Dean Smith, we could almost close our eyes and list the team sheet every week. We had a very sort of set team. Yes, he got the sack for obvious reasons. We lost 5 games in a row. But now, under Gerrard, he's obviously experimenting. So each week, we're seeing tweaks here, we're seeing tweaks to the system. Under Dean Smith, you always got the same, like 4-3-3. We're having tweaks to the system. Now, is that affecting it? Because these players, they're not used to this philosophy, this style of play. I don't know. It is a conundrum as to why Aston Villa cannot play, 2 months of football without everyone going into meltdown, because all of a sudden it looks like we're not going to score, because we didn't really look like scoring against Arsenal. We didn't really look like scoring today. The penalty was, a bit of a lucky, pullback. And it just feels like there's such a polarisation. Last season, we were so good at defending, weren't we? And then we
Very
did
good.
have we had games where we were then really good at attacking, but we always had the core of we were really good at defending. Whereas this season, I feel like we've never been as strong defensively. For what reason, I've got no idea. But also, our attacking has been so inconsistent. Like, we put 4 past Southampton, but then couldn't score against Watford, couldn't score today apart from a penalty. When really, it's the same players, it's the same talent. Yes, we're not going to score every game. It's football. It's going to be inconsistent to a degree. But we go on runs where we don't look like we can score. We don't look like we can keep a clean sheet. So what are we doing? It's not like we've got that core foundation that is consistent. Everything is coming in ebbs and flows. And I think the biggest issue for this football club is not if we can keep Coutinho in the summer. It's not if we're going to be the next prime Barcelona. It's not this and this and this. What we need to do is sort out the foundation of this team. So we know if we go a goal behind after 20 minutes, it's not all gone down the drain, that we've got the foundation, the collective mentality to get back into it.
Yeah, I
Because
agree.
I don't feel like this side is going to lose tons and tons of football games if we can get to a point of just feeling like we can draw. Just
Yeah,
accepting a draw, just getting a point, the difference it makes. But it feels like all is lost as soon as we concede that goal, especially when it's early. And there's something fundamentally wrong with this side. I don't want to sound fickle and like, we're having a meltdown after one game, because this is a long-term issue now, isn't it? This isn't something that is just coming up. This side is inconsistent, and it's going to be the biggest test for Gerrard to make us consistent, because everyone's going to laugh at us trying to go for Europe if we're losing games 3-4 on the bounce. It's just not going to happen.
yeah, I do. You're right, and I think that when you're saying about the fundamental foundation of the side, again, broken record. Until we get that central defensive midfielder in this team, we are going to have the same problems. Today, John McGinn slips on the ball, right? So he slips on the ball. Whatever. He's under attack or he slips. Fair enough.
It happens.
It's one of them. But where was that sort of covering central defensive midfielder to just come in and mop it up? It was as if one slip and we're all chasing backwards. And I'm just waiting now to go on Twitter tonight and the Wolves fans put a clip of some like comedy music over this moment, because it's all over the place, isn't it? Constant slips, the ball comes in and it's like there's a hand grenade in the box and it's
You
just
can't make it
chaotic
up.
mess. And
Mm.
that's just like one little moment, one momentary slip on the halfway line, and it's caused absolute chaos. And
Yeah,
gifting goals, and it's just that sort of that sense of like, someone's just made a bit of a mistake. We can recover this. We can regroup it. But I always just feel like at the minute it's just like that one mistake is just like it's so fragile,
mm.
and I just, even like what you were saying about like if we go 1-0 down and we sort of like we can regroup, we can recover. Like I think of a team like West Ham, and I think if they go 1-0 down, it doesn't matter, because as a team they know they're strong enough to probably come back into that game. Even when we were 2-0 down and we were growing into the game, or it was 1-0 and we sort of had that period and we were growing into the game, and you sat there thinking, actually, we can get back into this now. We're on top here now. And then it's just like, boom, 2-0. And you're like,
Yeah,
come on, like, what's happened? Like, so,
yeah.
God, do you want to talk us through what did you make of the actual game then?
Yeah, that's actually, if we actually talk about the game, I was just moaning. So yeah, it was so frustrating. So I was watching from home, shall we say, by some means, and after 5 minutes, I'm thinking, not bad. Like, the thing is, you also mentioned about we're coming back from an international break. We never seem to come back. We talk about these breaks like, yeah, we're going to recoup. It's going to be really good. Players will get good internationals, and then they'll come back confident. Never happens. We
Well,
always
the other
come back
thing is
looking
with that,
rubbish.
right? let me just go through, trying if I can remember off the top of my head, the players that have been away on international duty. Luca Dean smashed it. Okay, he got injured today. Watkins bagged a goal. Mings bagged a goal. So them two had a great international break. Leon Bailey had a good one as well. He got his goal. Coutinho back with Brazil. He got a goal, didn't he?
Yeah.
Who else have we got? Matty Cash had a brilliant one with Poland, qualified for the World Cup. John McGinn absolutely smashed it, bagged a goal. All these players absolutely had a brilliant international break. Now, are they thinking, fucking hell, I'm going back to Villa now? Like, is it a massive come down? Because they've just smashed it. They should be buzzing and, coming back and putting in a monster massive performance. But what's happened to them?
Yeah, it is. You can't believe it, and I can't keep using the excuse that maybe they're tired because all the players are going through the same thing if they've been on an international break. I'm sure there was Wolves players that probably went on international, you know, breaks, and you just can't believe it. So that from the start, going back to it, I thought, first 5 minutes not bad considering we're off the back of a break, but then from there on, it was just like, what is going on? So we concede the goal, and it was a slippy one, wasn't it? There was two slips, and you think that's ridiculous, but it's unfortunate. But we go and again, and it was decent. We got back into the game. There was more possession, and I felt like we were doing okay. And then again, that's met with another goal conceded. So at that point, it just feels like we're never going to get back into the game. We get an injury with Luca Dean, which is just a nightmare. So Ashley Young comes on. So immediately you're 2-0 down, you've had an injury, you're a sub down, and it all feels like it's going wrong. So everyone thinks half time, big team talk.
We've lost Hannah's internet connection a little bit. So I think what she's just basically saying is going in half time, come out and we'd absolutely smash it, and we didn't. Watkins had his 2 chances, didn't he? His 2 1-on-1s, which he should have done a little bit better with. We need to be more clinical. If you look at Wolves, they were clinical when they had their chances, and we weren't clinical whatsoever. And then, we got the penalty, came back into the game, and just wanted to have a good end and just try and get the point or whatever, and we just couldn't, could we? So it was really frustrating that we came away with a loss against Wolves. So the bragging rights stay with Wolves. Have done the double over us this season as well, which is not the best. And sorry for moaning, but it's just frustrating, isn't it? Villa fans, in the comment section down below, let me know your thoughts on the game today as well. And we'll be back for our preview for Spurs in the week. Keep the faith, up the Villa.